In this video, I'm going to show you how to create high converting affiliate boxes just like the pros over at Authority Hacker. Let's get started. Hey there, my name is David, and one of the best ways to get ahead when it comes to affiliate marketing is to look at what the top dogs in the industry are currently doing. When it comes to affiliate marketing, you don't get much bigger than Gail and Mark from Authority Hacker. These are the guys behind TAS, Authority Hacker Pro, and of course the Authority Hacker podcast. In one of their recent podcasts, Gail mentioned that they have a new method of producing affiliate boxes at the top of their content, which does convert very well and is a good way to get some extra clicks for your best roundup review posts. This right here is an example of one of these layouts that they're using. And in this video, I'm going to show you how you can replicate this type of product table without needing any fancy plugins or anything like that. All you're going to need is GeneratePress, the theme, as well as the premium version of that, and then the free GenerateBlocks plugin as well. Now, let's just hop on the computer and get started. For this demonstration, I'm just going to be using some information from another website, so I'm not going to be publishing this. So this is going to be from GeneratePress.com, the top 8 best off-road tires of 2023. I'm just going to get all the information from this article and use it in this demonstration. I just wanted to make that clear about this information, where I'm getting the information. So I'm not doing anything. I'm not publishing this article, so really I'm not going to be plagiarizing anything. I'm just using the information for this demonstration. So let me just go ahead and give this a title quickly. Best tires for off-roading. And now this is really where the power of GeneratePress comes in. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a container at the top here. So we can go plus, so we can add a container. And I like to work with the list view open on the left here so we can see what we're doing. And let's just duplicate that container. So if we go and look at the Authority Hacker layout, we have the title of the article, we have the author and the post meta, or the publish meta. So this is stuff that would be generated from a element on GeneratePress. But what we want to do is we want to get this section here in our article. Okay, so to do that, it's quite simple. This is just a little introduction section, and then this is the table. So if we go back to our article, we have two containers. The top container, this is going to be our introduction, and the second container is going to be our table. So just to make things a little bit easier to see, what I'm going to do is I'm going to label these just using the HTML anchors. This is going to be our intro. Whoops. And now you can see next to the container here we have intro, and this is going to be our table. Okay, so now we can see that those are easily labeled, so if we want to select between them, we can just click on them. First thing that we want to do now, or the next thing we want to do, is go to the post, and we want to make this a full width layout. So let's go to select post on the left, on the right, and then sidebar layout, we want to have no sidebars. And our table we want to make full width. So let's go to the block settings of this container, go to layout, make sure that is full width. So we can go here and click this and make sure that is full width. And we can change our inner container width here to something like, we can leave this actually at full width for now, and later on we can fine tune that a bit more. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to add a grid. So we can see here by the Authority Hacker guys, they have five columns. For our example, we're just going to use 4 columns, the best tires for off-roading. Let's go and then add a grid. So you can just go and type in grid. Add that, and then look for 4 or however many you want. We can expand that. Now we can see, okay, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to be our columns. These 3 we don't really need right now. We can actually just delete those because we are going to just replicate this one container to make things more easier for ourselves. And now for the top, we're going to add sort of our branded, or what criteria the specific thing falls under. So this over here, the best overall, we're going to add that quickly to our table. And we're just going to go and add a headline. And that's going to be our... So for this example, we're going to go with best daily driver. I'm going to center align that and then just change this to a paragraph so it's not a header. And now we can do some customization here on the right to make this look a little bit better than it currently is. So we can add spacing. We can go and just go and add some padding around this. So let's say 10 padding, so that's going to add some space around the top, bottom, left and right. We can give it a gray background so that it's more visible. We can also change the font size, so let's make it bold. And I want to make this quite large, so maybe a 24, that might be a bit too big. Let's go with 21, whoops. 21, and we've center aligned it and that looks alright already. Now we want to make this box a little bit rounded in the corners, so to do that we can just go to the spacing drop down, and then here by border radius we've got T left and T right, that's top left and top right. We are going to give it a radius of 8 on both sides. Now you can see those corners are nicely rounded, and we basically have our box like it is seen over here. So far so good. Okay, now the next section, just to make it a little bit easier to see what we're doing, I'm going to make the container a different color. So the theme of this website, if we go here quickly just to preview, we can see that red is our theme color here, and that's what we're going to use as the background. So let's make sure that the table container is selected. We're going to go to colors, we're going to go to background, and we're going to select that red. And we can do the same for the intro container. We're going to make sure that that background is also red. And then we can just go and make sure our text is white, our links are white, so that those are more easily visible when we add text and add links to this box. And I can see, because I didn't select the color for this, it's turned it white. We can go and just select the headline, and now just the color of this specific headline, we can change it independently by going to text and then going to black. Okay, and if we have links in this box, we'd also just go to the link color and we change it, but this is just a label basically for this table. Okay, so next thing we want to do is we want to add another container beneath this. And I've just added a paragraph there, and now over here I'm going to change this so that it shows a container. And in this container we want to add our image for the, let's go and just bring this example up. We want to add our image, we want to add our title, we want to add some text, we want to add the buttons, this type of thing we want to add then in this container, just so it's easier to manage. So we are going to go with, was it image first? Yes. So you can decide if you want the text or you want the image, but I think image is a good way to break this up. So we can add image. Align it to the center, and let's just go and load up some images here quickly. So I've got a selection of images for this example. We are doing tires, so I've got 4 tires here quickly downloaded. And this one is, well, the first image that we're using is, let me just grab the right thing here. This is the Cooper Discover. There we go. You can select that. And then the next thing we can do is we can add another, insert after, and then we can add a headline again. We can make this a paragraph text again. We can make sure that this is centered aligned. And now what we want to do is we want to include our title. I think I'm actually going to put the title above the tire. It just looks a little bit better for me, so let's move the headline. and go to typography. We can go bold, make that 24 perhaps. And now the title of this is the Cooper Discover STT Pro, so I'll add that in there. And that is good. And then beneath just make sure that the container is selected. Image I want after the image, still inside of this container. I want to have our text. I'm going to make another head. Whoops, just go / so that it allows me to choose that. And we want to go paragraph again. We're going to center align all of this. And I've got some text already picked out from that article that I mentioned already that we're just going to use now as an example. And that has been added nicely. And then next we want to do is add some buttons. So we're going to just type in buttons, and then we're going to select the GeneratePress option for buttons, not the WordPress one, because that gives us the flexibility to make a lot of changes. So we're just going to add the buttons in here. Center align that. Let's just change this to check latest price or whatever type of call to action you want to use. We can do that. And now what we want to do is change our colors here a bit. So we can go to colors, we can change the background to something more contrasty. I think black is fine still then. Our typography we can make bold so it's easier to see. And we can see about the size. We can see maybe 18. We can look at that in a bit. What we want to still do is try and make things a little bit more even. So we want to have a rounded corner here. So I'm going to select that, the link icon here to select everything at once, and then we're just going to move this up to 8 so that our corners are nicely rounded. And then here we'd obviously just add our affiliate link to whatever product this is. As this is an example, I don't have one to add there now, so I'm just going to leave that blank. Now you can see what we have a problem here is that we can't see the text in front of, or we can't, this is the white in the tire here doesn't look quite as nice as it could be. So we can add a white background here, and we're going to change the color of this text by selecting the container just underneath the headline. Okay, so when we select this, we can go to background, we can go white. Now our text has disappeared, but we can again just change that color by going here to the black side, selecting black. And our button is good, our text is now white, and that is looking quite good so far. Now at the bottom here, you can see that we need to have add that rounded corner as well. So we can go to the border radius when we've selected this container, and we can go bottom right, that should be 8. Bottom left, that should also be 8. Okay, and then we can just preview this in a new window, and then we can see how far we are and what we have to do still. Okay, so we're making some progress, but there's still quite a lot to do. We've got some spaces here that need to be sorted out. We've got this big gap here, and then this white space over here, because we haven't added the example intro text yet. So let's go and add that intro text quickly. We can just go a headline. Again, we're just going to make a paragraph here. We don't have any headings at the top here. We can just copy some text that I've gotten from that article as well, rewritten slightly. Okay, so for successful off-roading, your tires need to meet high standards, That's a fine little introduction. If we look at the Authority Hacker example here as well, they've got your content writing services, can help your editorial efforts, or even take over your blog overall. Which agency would you work with after years? These are our top recommendations. So that's a good example, sort of matches what the Authority Hacker guys are doing. Now for this text, we want to make it a little bit narrower so it doesn't take up the whole width. To do that, we can go to the container, select the container, and then we can go to the layout here. There's just a lot of things that are open here that looks a little bit untidy. So if we go to layout, we can go here to the inner container, the container width. So it says the container itself is full width, but the inner container is everything that's inside of this container. We can make that a separate size. So for this, I'm just going to go with 800. Oops, not 800 and 1200. So now you can see that's nicely restricted that. If we look at the spacing here, we can see there's a margin that's automatically been added here. We don't want that, so we can go and add 0. And now you can see that we've got that gap. What we can do is we can add some padding to the top and to the bottom. That's going to give us some space from the table that's going to be beneath it, and from the text that we have above the authors, the date update and stuff like that, if there isn't already. So let's just leave that at 0 first, and let's preview that so we can see if we need to add any spacing. Okay, that's not full width. We need to go and select container and also select full width on the WordPress settings here. And then we can preview that again. I know we're jumping back and forth here, so we're just jumping back and forth and looking. So you can see that gap over here is gone, but we've still got a large gap at the top here. That's just some theme settings. So depending on how your theme is set up, if you've got a content width added to the top of content, you'll have to just go to, for example, container here, and then by spacing, by the margin at the top, you can go negative, I'm not sure what this is on the site, but negative 50 perhaps. Let's see if that gets rid of that. So it looks like it might be negative 60. So we can go negative 60. And then we can preview that. And now you can see we've got a nice layout here in the top. So best ties for off-roading by myself, published on today's date. And then we've got a bit of a gap here. We've got our introduction, and now our table will come beneath that, and then after that our article. So what we can do is we can continue with our table here, and then we can get some of that sorted out. So the first thing, what you notice here is this is right in the edge here. What we can do here is we can add some padding between columns. So we can go to the grid, and then we're going to leave a horizontal gap of 20, so that when we do duplicate this, there will be spaces between them. And if we go to this headline, I'm assuming that is where this gap is coming in, just because of a, there we go, bottom margin. So we make that 0, now that gap disappears. We can preview that quickly. Okay, so we've got that. Now we've got that's right in the edge here of our browser. What I would say is we can minimize this to maybe 1500 pixel width. So let's go and grab the container, so the entire container here. We don't want full width, we want it to be contained slightly, and we're just going to go and make this 1500. Preview that once again and just make sure that's how it should look. And now you can see it's nicely here in the middle. But now you can see some spaces here, it's a bit tight in some areas, and over here it's a bit tight, and then over here by the button it's also a bit tight. So what we can do here is we can add some spacing. Padding all around these sections. So let's first go to this text, headline selected, and then we can maybe just get rid of the margin here, make it something a bit smaller, and then we can add some padding on the right, say 20, and on the left also 20. For our text, we can add some padding on the left of 20, on the right also 20. At the top we can go with 10, and at the bottom we can go with 10, and then we'll just get rid of this margin. We don't need any margin beneath it. For our tire, we can also add some padding just in case we run into some issues there in terms of the size. And things are already looking quite good. If we go to the buttons here, what we can do now is we can add some padding around this, just so that it's a little bit larger. So it's already got some padding, but we can also make it 25, 25. And let's just go and have a look. What we can do is add some margin beneath the button, so beneath this button section here. If we're just going to leave it, sorry, not the margin. What we need here is some over here, some margin on the button itself, and we've got that nice sort of blank space then beneath it, 25 perhaps. We can preview that, and that product is looking quite good so far, like it is over there. If we go and look at the Authority Hacker example, we can see they've got their button here, it pops out. They've got a review beneath it as well. what we can do is we can also add a review. If we have, for example, if we've got a tire if we've got a review for the Cooper Discoverer STTT Pro, we can add a button beneath this that'll take the reader to that review if they want to. So to do that, what we can do is just go and add a plus, and I've got a button. But instead of having a button, what we can do is let's just copy the texture and then read paste it in, and then review, and then let's just change the font size a bit smaller. And now what we can do is we can take this button, we can change its colors so that it just looks like it's text. So the background is going to be white, and it's going to be white. You can't see it now, but that's because the text is white. What we can do is we can change this to the button color, so the light blue. And now if someone, let's make it that it's black if someone hovers over it. So now if someone hovers over that, we can also add our link then to that article. So if we have a link here, we'll just paste it in here, and then if someone clicks here, it'll take them to that specific review. Padding is now a little bit off, so we can go and select this button and we can get rid of the margin again. And now you can see that looks a lot better. We don't need so much of a margin now because of that. People can't see the button really now. And that's pretty much how you get that specific product. And we might have to adjust some spacing at the top. But let's just replicate this now quickly into 4 different columns. So what we can do is we can close everything so that we've got just one container underneath the grid. Okay, so instead of going and adding a new container and then filling all of this stuff out again, what we can do is we can just go and select this container we've already made. This is sort of a little template that we've done. We can go and open down the drop down and then go duplicate, and then do that one more time, and then for the last time. Now we have 4 different containers. To make them easy to find, we can do the same thing here by just labeling them, sort of. So we can go container, all the way down to advanced. Here, this is going to be our Cooper Discoverer. Next container is going to be the, what is this tire? It's going to be a Goodyear tire. Okay, so this doesn't do anything. This is just so that you can see more easily what is going on, basically. Okay, this is going to be a BF Goodrich. And then the last one is going to be a general tire. Okay, so now we can just add the new, or add the additional information to that. So let me just go ahead and do that. I shall speed this up for you. Okay, so we've just pasted in all of the information so that these columns are all different. So it's just a little bit easier to see what I'm doing here, basically. Like we would have a real product comparison here. So we've got our best daily driver, our best truck tire, our best mud and rock tire, and our best tire that's most durable. And then we've got our link to our affiliate link, wherever we're affiliated. And then if you have a review, we can also then link to the review. If we don't need these, we can just go and remove the button, like I showed previously. So you can go here and then just remove button, and then adjust the margin on the specific button. But because we may have a review, we'll just leave that as it is. And now we can hit the preview button and just see how things are looking. Right, so that's looking quite good. Best tires for off-roading by da-da-da-da-da. So for successful off-roading, your tires need to be da-da-da-da-da. Here are our 4 columns. We've got our pictures there. We've got our text. We've got our separator. We can maybe these colors are not the best, but they're all right. Basically, just going with the theme. Now we have 2 problems here. The first is the padding at the bottom here. So to do that, we can just add some padding at the bottom. That's not really an issue. What will need a little bit of finicking is making these columns the same length if you would like that. So if this is sort of disturbing you that this one ends over here and this one ends over here and this one ends over here, we can add minimum height so that they're all basically the same height as the longest one. So to do that, we are going to go to our back here to the editor. And basically the reason that I have separate containers inside of this is because I want to use this container to create the minimum height. I know we made a minimum height here with this one, but we can, and you can do it probably with, or you can do it with this one, but this is just how I like to do things. So if we have the container here, let me just close things up here so that it's a little bit neater and more easy to see what I'm doing. So I can select either any of these containers or these 4 columns, and the interior container is the one beneath the headline. So the headline's at the top here, this best mud and rock, and then this container is separate. So this container, I want to make the minimum height by going to spacing and then minimum height. I'm going to go with about 750. And this container, I'm going to go with minimum height of 750. The next container, we're going to do the same thing. And we're going to do the same thing. And this all depends on the minimum height of how much text you have, basically, or how much space you need. Really, you just want to fiddle about with this, adjust the height until you find something that sort of matches everything. So hit preview and we can see, okay, they are all pulled down basically to the edge, and now you can see we need that padding or that margin at the bottom here to help us get some space. Or actually, if we're using the container, we can just have some padding here at the bottom. So let's go here and just add 20 to the padding on our main table. Go to preview and just see if that worked. And there you can see at the bottom we've got that padding. And then beneath this we just have our article, which we'd write as normal. And that's basically it. Now you can see you've got a nice table here with 4 products that are nicely displayed. If you go to mobile, it's going to look a little bit wonky at first. So you can only have them above each other. To do this, we can edit some, let's just go and open this up. We can edit this for mobile using GeneratePress as well. So we can do this, go here. We can go to this headline. We can have margin on the top, or we can select this container and we can add a margin at the bottom of 20. And then we can do the same for this container. Basically, you just want to do this, try and be consistent when you are adding these things so you know what you've basically done. And there's multiple ways to add this. But as you can see, we've got that margin. We can add some margin on the sides as well so that this is more, I think we can just grab the whole container for that really. And let's just see. Add a 20, and on the right we can also add 20. And let's go to the Goodyear one. We can go to the right, we can add 20. To the left we can add 20. And then to the Cooper we can add 20, and to the left we can add 20. And then the last one we need to change as well, the General Motors one here. So on the right we'll add 20. On the left we'll add 20. We don't need to add anything at the bottom because we have that from our main container. We can just go and preview that quickly. Okay, so if we look here, this all looks normal still. And now if someone's on a mobile device, they'll land in, they'll see, okay, the best daily driver is the Cooper, the best truck tire is the Goodyear, the best mud. Okay, so if we go back quickly and just have a look at the Authority Hackers example here, we can see there's one thing that we can't do without having GeneratePress Blocks Pro is the sort of pop up with the button. So you're going to need to get GeneratePress Pro to have your button sort of pop like this if you'd like. But I think really if you're hovering over here with the color change, it's also doing quite a good eye catcher as well. So let's go and preview that. And as you can see, this is really quite a nicely done table for a comparison article. And then after that, we can just add our article like you would normally have, each individual category and stuff, and all of the different methods that were used to judge which ones are the best, and so on. So if you want to copy this block setup with the tables and stuff like that for another roundup, what you can do is either get GenerateBlocks Pro. You can save this into the pattern library and then you can just copy that in. Or what you can do is you can grab both of these containers, control and make sure that you can copy both blocks. So 2 blocks copy to the clipboard, We can open up a new post. Let's just go example 2. And then here we can just paste these two in here. Now, if we look at the preview, it won't be quite right because we haven't changed the article's layout to full width. So let's just go and add no sidebars. And now we should pretty much have the same layout as we had prior. So you can see example 2, here's our table again, and now you can just go and tweak this however you'd like it. So if we just add some text there, if we preview this, preview it in a new window, and if we go here, this stuff should stay all the same. If we preview that, here we've got example 2, here's that text has changed, and here we've got our old text on this. And if you want to have only 3 options, then for example, you can just go and let's grab the list, let's grab the container. We know this is the 4th. You can also just rename these. So you've got like 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. And then you can just remove the container. And now there's a gap there. To sort that out, we can just go and select the container here. And then make sure the block is selected. And then we're going to go and select 33 width. And do that on the other 2 as well. We go preview, we should now see that it's going to be 3 next to each other. As you can see, we can also change the size of this image so that it's all the same if you want. And then we can adjust the heights and just fine-tune things a little bit more to each individual post, like you would do for a high revenue article that you'll be writing anyway. So as you can see, you don't need any expensive affiliate plugins to create these nice boxes at the top of your posts. You can create them all using GeneratePress Premium. It is a paid-for version of the theme, but as you can see, you can do quite a lot with it. This is just really the tip of the iceberg. And if you are interested in GeneratePress Premium, there will be a link below in the description. That is an affiliate link. If you do buy through it, then I will earn a small commission. And if you do, then thanks. This type of article is great for affiliate sales and earning on your website through affiliate commissions. But if you are interested in display advertising and you haven't quite gotten 50,000 sessions yet per month to join one of the larger ad networks, then I definitely recommend you check out Ezoic. And if you are using them on your website, then watch this video next to find out how to make more money using Ezoic on your website. I'm going to see you in the next one. Ciao.